was guilty of the charges. And I think the senator is right. If you looked at his demeanor, Honorable Mutuse's demeanor, and how he even responded to some of the questions that were posted to him, he appeared like he either wanted someone else to tell him what to say, he wasn't confident enough, he wasn't sure of what he's saying, and kept referring to we, the people, I don't know him and who, and also saying, I think. And so if you're thinking about what you presented yourself, then who gave you the evidences that you're presenting? Where did you get the information to allege that this person is worthy to be impeached? So I think a lot of forensic scrutiny needs to be done by the Senate, and also involve even other agencies, state agencies like ESCC, anti-laundering agency.
Laundering.
Yes, so that they get to the root bottom of these allegations. And if there's any reason whatsoever that they clear His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua of this allegation, then Mutuse should be arrested. Because you cannot just, as a leader, you cannot just come out, purport to allege so many things about another leader and want to go scot-free. Because tomorrow we'll see the same precedent already being set. So anyone can just come and say, oh no, you know, Rachel, you did ABCD. And there's something also that the senator has spoken about, that I think as someone who vied in the last general election, I would want to say this. With all honesty, we are politicians. You do not fight for power to benefit a neighbor before benefiting your person. So when you're going to vie for particular position, be it as a county assembly member, be it as a national parliament MP position, or as a senator, you're going to ensure that your region first is okay before you can now go start telling people now, why aren't you focusing on Kenya? Because even the members of parliament who purport, especially from Azimio and Daktari here said, why don't you look at Siaya, for example? We all know where Siaya is economically. Are we developed enough? What if they took that energy and start saying, the water that you're taking to Murang'a, for example, or this particular project that you're taking to coastal region, we also can have the same in Siaya. Why aren't we seeing the fish plants planted done in Siaya, whereas they are in Thika and other places? So I think let us not pinpoint issues where they exist. None. I believe all politicians, while we are getting into power, is to benefit our people. And once we benefited our people, then you can also say that this road can now pass to the next constituency after it has passed through yours. Well,
my Director General will also play this bite of the Murang'a Senator Joe Nyutu, who says Mutuse does not give convincing reasons. Absolutely. Because each time he's asked her questions, he says, I think so. I believe so. Listen in.
Raised to seek some clarifications from the Honorable Mutuse. Very fast, Mr. Speaker. First of all, what led him to, if he did, to think of auditing the wealth of the Deputy President? Was he auditing institutions? And if he was auditing the presidency, would he kindly tell us also about the wealth of the President? Number two, Mr. Speaker, who did this particular motion for Honorable Mutuse? And why I ask that, Mr. Speaker, is because every time he's asked a question, he says, I think so, I believe so. He does not give convincing reasons, in my view, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, he has listed several companies. And these companies, upon cross-examination, he has said repeatedly.
Dr. Isaac, at some point, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua said that no crucial motion or bill will see the light of the day without the President's nod. Does this then expose Mwengi Mutuse to have been used, perhaps by President William Ruto, to table such a motion?
Chacha, I think, if I've got your question very well, You know, this motion came to Parliament knowing that the motion mover has done the necessary investigations, or rather collected the necessary facts before tabling to the National Assembly. But because the National Assembly did not give a lot of consideration and they were playing political game, then the motion mover was given a leeway to just present anything. And that is why during the National Assembly's proceedings, the Deputy President was given a chance to just speak. There was no interrogation, and of course the motion was also floated without interrogation. You know, in an African proverb, we say, one can be absolutely truthful and sincere even though admitted by the most outrageous liar. So, meaning that if you are admitted into a process where you think you will going to have it, whether you are a liar or not, then it takes you to such a situation. Let me take you to the Senate. Some few Senates have put things into perspective, in that if Mutuse was asked a question, a simple question, that even any layman would have known how to answer. For example, you are asked, how come you have decided to go and interrogate my account? On what basis did you interrogate my account and got details of my personal account? Because there are also laws that protects individuals' right. And of course, there are institutions who cannot give out your private issues without certain legal procedures. So he said he has used his witnesses outside, and they are private, and because of witness protection, I will not want to expose them. That is not the case. If I want to access your account, I go to court and I give out the reason as to why I want details of your account. There are procedures that have been put in place, and then the court. Because
even KRA was denied that in the previous finance bill.
Exactly. So the courts will give you a leeway, because weighing the you know, the rationale of your request, and then once that one is given to you, you are able to confidently say that I have submitted this letter through the National Assembly to the High Court. The High Court has given us these directives to the banks. The banks have serviced us with these details, simply because we wanted, as an institution, we wanted to have the facts with us. He did not do that. Well, and he says he has been given out by some, even if my bank statement is given to you by an individual, that is irrelevant, because bank statements are supposed to be approved from the bank, stamped and signed by the management of that particular bank when you are being given. Even when you are asking for a visa, and you are supposed to attach your own bank statement where you have all the details. All those procedures of ensuring that it is verified by the bank is a mandatory procedure. In fact, one thing that I should tell you is that Gachagua at this point has no political will. Yeah. But in terms of the case that has been administered by the mover of the motion, then there is a crisis there.
Well, in fact, the Kiambu Senator Karungo Athang'wa also questioned on how the documents were, you know, how actually Mwangi Mutuse accessed some crucial documents. And this is what Karungo Athang'wa said, and I'll be tasking Wakili to explain whether there is already a breach.
Given us a lot of documents, even bank statements, and even payment vouchers. I know you as Honorable Member of Parliament, not necessarily a government agency. How did you access these documents? Yet you know the Supreme Court of Kenya has indicated it is wrong to steal evidence or to unlawfully obtain evidence. We would want you to give us that indication. And also, you said the Deputy President was in a company of senators in Nairobi County. I was actually...
Wakili Newton.
Yes.
Does this amount to breach of data protection?
Not actually. It will amount to infringement of data privacy, and it also goes against the rules of adducing evidence before a judicial process, or of course a judicial process as the one before the Senate. The Evidence Act prohibits the use of illegally obtained evidence. For example, you cannot steal my evidence and then you use it. Because I'll ask you, where did you get this? I mean, where? And the reason why illegally obtained evidence is very much discouraged to be used in a judicial process is for the simple reason that we need to authenticate the documents or the evidence that you bring forward, because you can forge documents and then you come and rely on them. Therefore, what Senator Karungo Thangwa is asking is very valid, because the Honorable Mutuse needs to tell the Senate that I obtained these documents from wherever, and this is the document. For example, he was asked by counsel for the Deputy President about a WhatsApp text and a screenshot. The law and rules of evidence has it that when you take a screenshot or you produce something using a laptop or an electronic device, you have to produce a certificate for that one, so that we know whose machine was that, the encryption of it, and then we know the truthfulness of that. And an expert must adduce that certificate so that we can hold someone accountable and believe that. There are also other things that I also noted in terms of adducing his evidence. The Honorable Mutuse, I could say he did so many things that can amount to hearsay. Because all of the things that he was asked about, he used to say, you know, we had, there was this Mr. Jomo who said, you know, that according to the rules and the law of evidence is illegal and it cannot pass. And because the Senate has put themselves on a pedestal, like a court, then we are expecting the decisions that amount to that pedestal. Well, therefore, they must look at that evidence based on the rules of evidence and the Evidence Act. They must look at the Honorable Mutuse as a witness, and they must also look at the Honorable Gachagua as someone who deserves justice and fair hearing as of Article 50.
Well, yes. We are beginning to wind up. Rachel, on this now critical, crucial matter, on if at all Rigathi Gachagua will be impeached, and also do you hold a position perhaps he should resign before senators start taking a vote, because there is that provision still, who then inherits him? Tomorrow, a special sitting has already been gazetted at the National Assembly in anticipation that Gachagua will be ousted today, and by tomorrow, President William Ruto will name a nominee. At night, the National Assembly will consider. By Saturday, a new DP will be sworn in, even as we wind up.
I think the Deputy President shouldn't resign. Let him listen to the presentations which will be made today, then still move to court. As we've all said, from a layman perspective, what we witnessed yesterday from the petitioner himself was not sufficient ground for his impeachment, from our view. So I think he still has his day in court. If it were me, I would still pursue so that justice is served. But again, this whole thing, given the manner in which the process is being hastened, you tend to ask yourself, is it just a formality? The decision had been made, the die had been cast, and they already had someone in mind for the DP position. So it was like, we just need to remove you so that this person occupies the space. And the manner in which these things are being done, I mean, is what Kenyans are questioning, the credibility of the whole process. Is it that they really want us to believe that there's credibility in the two parliaments, or is it just a rubber-stamp kind of a process?
As we wind up on the names.
On the names,
Irungu Kangata's name has surfaced.
Surface, and many more will come up. I still want to believe, and I think eventually the person whom the president may nominate for this position, according to the constitution, may shock everyone. But I don't think if it will come from the central region. So it will not come from Mount Kenya. I don't think if it's going to come from Mount Kenya. Mount Kenya has been shaken. Mlima imeguzwa.
So where does it go in your own predictions?
In my own view, if you look at how politics played in 2007, I think that is what they are eyeing in 2027. That we managed in our view, that then, I think that was NASA coalition, was it NASA or COD?
When?
The 2007.
No, that was, is it Rainbow? NAC.
NAC, it was, yes. That time, NAC was for Kibaki. So if they play the same thing that we can actually move forward without the mountain, then his focus is now shifting to Nyanza and Western.
Are you saying Raila Odinga could be the replacement of Gachagua?
Baba is equally a Kenyan and he qualifies. But one thing I just want to say as I wind up, that in all of this, let our leaders know, especially the parliamentarians, that we are now scrutinizing them.
Thank you.
And come 2027, everyone will have a tag on him on how they performed.
Thank you.
Especially in this matter.
Dr. Isaac.
No, I think Chacha, I will put it in three perspectives. The first perspective is that what does the president want in terms of his 2027 bid? And if he wants, if he puts or anchors the selection on that, then two things happens. One, he may want to take a deputy who is not very much influential from the mountain to just indicate that the mountain is still holding the position, but he will not going to bid with him in 2027 for his second term. The reason as to why that is so is because with the way we are seeing the political dispensation changes and what do you call the political parties coalitions, he will be looking at who he will going to have a bid with, and therefore on that bid he will going to select another deputy president. So if he puts up someone who is very strong, and this particular person he wants to bid with for 2027, he will make the selection now, knowing or hinting that this is the way he will want to go and make his coalition.
Thank you.
Secondly, no, I have not given, let me give you the three and then I'll
running out of time.
Secondly, he may opt to completely shut, as she said, politically the part of the mountain. And when if he does that, he will then try to look at the other part of the mountain, the western part or the northern part of the mountain, and avoid the eastern part of the mountain. That way means then he has splitted the mountain into two. That means he will not require for his bid for 2027, and he will only have some few elements of representation where the division will going to be met. Finally, the president can decide that we already have an office that is in question, that is the Prime Cabinet Secretary. Therefore, if the Prime Cabinet Secretary's position, which has been budgeted, a budget has been allocated in the office and it is in question, then the government, he can say he will want to cut cost on the government expenditure, and therefore he removes that absolute position that is in question and move Mudavadi to the position of the deputy for the purposes of just completing the remaining term. That way you will get also the will of the people that the president indeed is considerate that as he said last time, that we're going to reduce government expenditure.
Thank you.
So those three aspects will going to play, I guess. But above all, it is the president to decide who he wants to become his deputy.
Wakili, quickly. At this point, should Rigathi Gachagua resign or wait to face the court, which still he might not, be sure whether he will win at that point?
I think I applaud him for taking it this far. He needed not to resign. He needs not to resign at this point. Let him have it all until the end. Let us see what we are going to make of this process. In any case, we are building jurisprudence. However, may I say that in all these things, let us not forget paying allegiance and obeying the Constitution. Because without that, we have no country here. And therefore, I beseech the Senate, whatever they are doing, politics or no politics, let us uphold constitutionalism.
Thank you so much, Newton Madhenge. He's an advocate of the High Court. Rachel Omolo, governance expert, and Dr. Isaac Hassan is also a governance and leadership expert. It has been a conversation on the impeachment of the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. Today being the D-Day, the Senate will be taking a vote to determine his fate. In the second set, that is, remember here on K24, we are doing a wall-to-wall coverage as far as this impeachment motion is concerned. And From 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., I'll be bringing you, of course, also key guests and voices. That is Anudin Kagai, also an advocate of the High Court. Kennedy Ondieka, political analyst. Dr. Mark Matunga, technology evangelist. And as well, Dr. Pamela Odhiambo, who is the former Migori County MP. Keep the conversation going via social media platforms at K24 TV, at Joel Church as well on SMS, and WhatsApp numbers on the bottom of the screens. Thank you so much for getting time. I'll be engaging the next panel shortly. Stay tuned.